As we're all getting to grips with the thought of a further 3 weeks of lockdown, going the distance comes to mind again. How do we hold on to God, not just in the first flush of a trial, but over the long haul? How do we discern his presence with us and draw encouragement and strength from that as well as discernment? I believe one answer to these questions lies in a prayer known as the Daily Examen. The Daily Examen is a prayer tool that was developed by St. Ignatius of Loyola. It can help us to discern God's presence in our day and, over time, his purposes and direction for us as well. We could think of it, perhaps, as looking for the silver linings in each day, so that we can both give thanks for those blessings and learn from them. Sleeping with Bread, Holding What Gives You Life is the title of a book about the Daily Examen, written by Dennis, Sheila, and Matthew Lint. They explain the benefits of recognizing God's presence in our days through likening the action of the prayer to the bread in this story. During the bombing raids of World War II, thousands of children were orphaned and left to starve. The fortunate ones were rescued and placed in refugee camps where they received food and good care. But many of these children, who'd lost so much, could not sleep at night. They feared waking up to find themselves once again homeless and without food. Nothing seemed to reassure them. Finally, someone hit upon the idea of giving each child a piece of bread to hold at bedtime. Holding their bread, these children could finally sleep in peace. All through the night, the bread reminded them, "Today I ate, and I will eat again tomorrow." This story, at heart, explains the motivation and benefit of the Daily Examen. It's the discipline of asking ourselves, put simply, 2 questions. For what am I most grateful today? For what am I least grateful today? These questions help us to identify moments of consolation and moments of desolation in our day. Consoling moments are those that draw us closer to God and to others. These are moments that are somehow life-giving and can leave us with a sense of rightness and peace within ourselves. Moments of desolation, by comparison, relate to those times when we see that we've moved away from God, or times when we feel disconnected from him, from ourselves or others. Times when we are at odds with ourselves or God, and in some way we feel bereft. When we pray with the Examen over time, we can begin to discern patterns in our behavior or our relationships. We begin to notice what or who helps us to move towards or away from God, and as a result, guides us to seek more of that which we realize draws us into deeper communion with God, and less of that which does not. The Examen can be done at any frequency, daily, weekly, monthly, even yearly. However, the more frequently we do it, the greater the benefits. Actively remembering God's goodness and noticing his daily presence in our lives is the daily bread we hold on to as we sleep. Bread which can enable us to be at peace and to endure whatever each new day will go on to hold. The invitation of today's contemplative offering is, after a time of centering, to do an Examen, and then to record in a journal or simply on paper what came from that time of prayer. It's by recording what comes from your prayer each time you do the Examen that you will most easily capture the patterns of consolation and desolation. If you're doing this in the morning, I would suggest your Examen is of yesterday. If you're doing this late in the day, It could be of that same day, up to that point.